What's happening, y'all? So today we are going to talk about y'all and y'all leaving and trying to go to these places and breaking down and then calling Brother Tom thinking that he can rescue everybody. I can't rescue everybody, but I can help you before you leave. First things first, I'm making this video because over the past 3 or 4 days or so, I've had a lot of people call me from Virginia on I-81 of all places. Broke down. Yeah, so I need to shut my blinds clearly because there's a Chinese restaurant over there. And yeah, I just got done bathing. So anyway, people have called me from on 81 and it's out in the Blue Ridge Mountains somewhere for the past few days now, asking me if I can come rescue them. Brother Tom doesn't have an inspection on his van, so Brother Tom can't go into Virginia right now. I have Virginia tags. I don't have Maryland tags. I have Virginia tags. In Virginia, you need an inspection. Now, if anybody got the hookup on inspections, y'all need to let me know. But otherwise, I can't rescue you right now because you're in Virginia. Break down in Maryland or D.C. or, golly, Northern Virginia or something. Secondly, I want to go over this with you because y'all need to know this and what to do before y'all take some of these raggedy clunkers on the highway. Now, first thing I'm going to say is, just because it's new does not necessarily mean that you will not break down. In fact, sometimes the best new car is the car that you already own. With that being said, new cars don't necessarily have the kinks worked out of them when you get them. Although you would think they do, they don't. Not all of them do anyway. Some of them, you have to have like a break-in period. Now, not every dealer is going to tell you that, but a lot of the foreign cars have like a break-in period. Some of the American cars do too. And that break-in period can be from anywhere from 30 to 20,000 miles. So in that time that you think that you have this brand new car and you're not going to break down, yeah, I hate to bust your bubble, but don't count on that. Secondly, you should probably invest in AAA. If you plan on doing any trips, Memorial Day is coming, along with a slew of other holidays where people like to get on the road and go everywhere that don't go nowhere ever. If you're going to do this, then you should probably invest in AAA, or at least have towing on your insurance. Most insurances will cover towing, I think. Yeah, most of them. Now, currently, Brother Tom doesn't have towing on his insurance, so let's pray that I don't break down. And then we're going to move on to what to do before you leave. First thing you should do is check your oil. I was going to show y'all an example of this, but I don't feel like getting out of the van. Mosquitoes are outside. I have my citronella candle burning on the inside. So I'm not going out right now. But check your oil. When you check your oil, it should be brown or light tan or clear. If it is black, you need to change your oil. Sometimes when it's brown, you need to change your oil. And if it is white, don't even drive to the store. Just don't drive at all. Just stay the hell where you are. Do not go nowhere, because if it's white, that means you have a blown head gasket. And even if, or a crack block, well, there's a slew of things it could be actually. But it means that the oil is mixing with your water. And you don't want to go nowhere on an engine that the oil is mixing with the oil. Brother Tom knows that firsthand. Take that back. If you're already on the road and that happens, you'll probably make it where you're going as long as it's not running hot. But just know that you're smoking badly, and the people behind you probably can't see through the plume of smoke coming out of your car. Just let you know. If you have inline 6, then you probably will survive that. And that's from experience. Alright, now from there, you should look under your car, check for any leaks. If it looks moist under your car, that's fine. But if it looks moist under your car from, say, where the catalytic converter is back, you have a problem. In fact, you have either a bad seal or a bad gasket somewhere, and it's leaking profusely. And you probably shouldn't, unless you're used to the problem, which I still don't recommend you do it. But if you're used to the problem, then so be it. I mean, I've driven cars many miles with really bad oil leaks and just kept a case of oil. And that's how I made it. In fact, I had a van that was in Wisconsin, and it had a really bad oil leak for a long time. And I drove that van probably about 100,000 miles with a quart a day. No, it was more. Probably a couple quarts a day, every day for about a year. And Wisconsin happened, and then it finally decided to start knocking. And I drove it all the way back from Wisconsin to D.C. with it knocking. In fact, it ran better knocking than it did when it was running regular. But with that being said, that's because it was an inline or a slant 6 in that one. I had a slant 6. Most of y'all aren't going to have a slant 6. However, if you manage to get something with a slant 6 in it, I recommend that you take it. That's a pretty good engine. Although, you should probably watch out, because some of them do start knocking after about 100,000 miles or so. The slant 6. The regular inline 6, I've had those go for 700,000 miles and be fine. But, what else? Yeah. Check your transmission fluid. Why are we checking the transmission fluid? Because if you don't check your transmission fluid, you might get out there and find that you're not moving anymore. And if you're not moving anymore, that means that you're stuck. And if you're stuck, that means that you're not going anywhere. And that is not good. So check your transmission fluid. It should be pink. If it's not pink, it should be red. If it's not red, it should not be black, brown, tan, or any other color. And it definitely shouldn't be white. So check your transmission fluid. I have to get the hair off of my face. This is getting really annoying. Look at this bird's nest that's down there. This just doesn't make any sense. Somehow or another today, I've been saying this now for 3 days. Anyway, back to the video at hand. Transmission fluid. And yeah, check it while it's running. It should be running or either hot. Some cars should be running, some cars should be hot. There's a lot of debate about that. I check it when it's hot, because what it does, it expands. Some of it expands and some of it contracts. It depends on what kind of car you have. But that's why there's different kinds of transmission fluid. And for God's sakes, do not, under any circumstances, especially if you have a Ford or a Mazda, do not put the wrong transmission fluid in it. Don't do that. That's bad. Really bad. And you won't go far, trust me. You'll go a little ways. You get out of town. I don't know how far you're going to make it if you hit traffic. Because once you hit that traffic, I use my brush to scratch my back. And my nose, apparently. Once you hit that traffic, it's over. Because what's happening is, it's shifting through them gears. And if that fluid ain't the right fluid, it ain't going to want to do the right thing. So, make sure you put the right fluid in the right place. It doesn't have, most cars don't have a cap. I think Cadillac might. But most cars don't have a cap where you pour the fluid in. You pour it in through the dipstick. Most cars. And there's some that are an exception. You might want to check in your owner's manual or go online and figure out where to go to figure that out. Not everybody at AutoZone has the answers. That's the other thing. Don't count on the idiots at AutoZone or Advanced Auto Crap to be able to tell you anything. Because sometimes they are just about stupider than a wall of bricks. And they're not able to do anything that the computer can't tell them to do because they're not auto-educated. The best way to learn is through experience, and most of them don't have it. They just get hired and they don't get fired, unfortunately. So don't rely on that information. Do your own research and figure it out yourself and go from there. Or just ask me. I'll leave it in the comments. I'll let you know. I'll help you out, as best as I can. On the other hand, don't ask me, because y'all ain't suing me if y'all do something wrong. If I ain't there, I can't help you. Well, I could help you, but anyway. Other things to check would be your antifreeze. You want to make sure that it's green. If it's or orange or sometimes red, depending on what kind of car you have. I believe there's also a blue one, but I have never seen it. But check your antifreeze. Make sure you put the right antifreeze in it if you need antifreeze. If you open the radiator cap and there's nothing there, you need antifreeze. If it's running hot, you might need antifreeze. If it's running hot also, you might need a thermostat. But check your antifreeze. If it's pink for some reason or oily and you have an automatic, it's probably because the antifreeze or the transmission fluid is leaking into the antifreeze from the radiator, which means you're about to have a transmission problem. Maybe, more than likely. I'm going to say more than likely. That's not necessarily true. If you catch it early enough, you might be all right. But if you don't catch it early enough, count on that not working out too well for you. If it's oily also, it could be an internal thing. If it's like a brown oil, yeah, brown, it could be an internal thing. You might just need your system flushed. That won't stop you from being able to get on the road, though. I'm just saying, just putting it out there in general. Just putting it out there. And then, let's see. We took care of that. Make sure you ain't got no leaks up front. Make sure that you check your tires. because your tire and your brake fluid, check your brake fluid. Your tires do not like the hot weather, especially when they've been in the hot weather for a couple of years. In some of y'all's cases, it's probably been a couple dozen years. You know who you are. Get your tires checked or check them yourself. All you're doing is looking them over, making sure they're not bald or cracked for the most part. You want to check in the tread on the tire because typically that's where they would be bald or cracked, and this video is about to end. So, with that being said, yeah, make sure you tell somebody you love them today. I will talk to y'all later. I don't have a lot of time. I only got 3 seconds left, and I will talk to y'all later.